The Fan, Sportsnet's YouTube channel, Sportsnet Now. Welcome in. And let's take a breather. It's halftime. Canada and Belgium. We are now started officially. And let me just get it right out of the way. How the hell is Canada down 1-0 to Belgium?
Ridiculous. Which I can't even believe we're saying, given the expectations going into the game. But boy, absolute dominance in the first half. Our boy Sammy in there, I don't even know if he's okay. He said that the way he felt during that first half made the Leafs' first round games feel like preseason.
Really?
That's how emotional he felt, how invested.
That's a great hat, Bourne. I have felt things during that half of football that I have not felt in a very long time when it comes to sports and engagement. I think I went into the game expecting it to be more of, a Belgium beatdown, and Canada maybe lucky to get one on the counter. And Canada was not even close. Like, they were by far the better team in the first half. Their talisman, their superstar, Alphonso Davies, misses a penalty, gets stopped by Thibaut Courtois, and it just felt like the game changed right after that. So,
and you know where the conversation's going right off the bat, and it will be 100 or 1,000 times larger on whether Alphonso was the guy to take the penalty shot, or should they have given it to David?
Yeah, I just talked to Jeff Blair before we came on here, and he's going to be on Kicking the Grass after this with Devang Desai. And who else? Someone else. Anyway,
Riccio.
Dan Riccio and Jeff Blair. So that's coming up after this. But Jeff was saying that, shouldn't have been Alphonso, but it's not like they rolled me out to take the kick. I mean, that guy should be able to convert or have a good chance at it.
How long was he out with a hamstring?
Not long.
Well, what?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. This is his first game action in a couple weeks.
Is that enough to have not given it to him?
No. He's your, listen, I'm hearing the Blair argument.
Yeah.
I understand that part of it. I do. You maybe give it to the guy that's more inclined, more of a center forward, more of a guy that's going to shoot in the net, you think.
Better at it?
Yeah, but Alphonso Davies, your best player. You want the historic moment.
What does
best
it mean?
player, biggest
best player
stage.
doesn't mean you're the best at a penalty
it's
kick.
Gretzky in the shootout, right? You send
is
Gretzky.
Is this Nagano?
You want, if I'm a Canadian soccer fan, which I am, I want the first goal in Canadian World Cup history to be converted by their best all-time.
But that's
player.
not a
who I
good
want?
point.
Yeah, it matters.
You know who I want?
The guy who kicks
I
it.
want the best guy that gives me a chance to go up 1-0. That's what. So now you're going
Listen,
all.
boys,
You want,
I'm grasping at straws.
Hey.
I'm devastated back here.
Sorry, man.
I'm grasping at straws.
But, man, they were dominant. Beyond that,
he's already he's gone to Hollywood for the movie, the movie version of this story.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Right? He wants a better script for the movie that they're going to make in 20
It's a good
years.
script, winning.
Yes.
But my God,
Exactly.
I mean, just by the expected goals in that period, 2.5 for Canada to half a goal for Belgium, and they're losing. So,
Barney, I was loving your hockeyisms throughout.
They were good.
Great underlying measure.
They were good on the forecheck.
They were. Got it deep, got after him, made him turn.
Good through the middle.
Yeah, that's right.
Except a couple times
Gotta get
Kevin
above.
De Bruyne unmarked down the middle, a little
keep
scary.
an F3. You cannot let De Bruyne get
So Belgium
cruising.
gets the one up the middle, and they bury it.
What a pass. And what a
Amazing
ball
pass.
in that was.
Yeah.
Just boom.
That's the
right
thing.
down the gut.
That's why teams like that's why they're ranked number 2 in the world. Because they have guys that make unbelievable plays even when they're not playing that well. It happens quick. So
I know.
it's about to start here. I'll be trying my best to stay engaged. I got some clips from Keith talking about, I don't even know what.
The Leafs made a trade.
I cut 5 or 6.
When we want to get your attention, you take that hat off and you just start waving it around. Okay?
Ear flaps up mean we need you. Ear flaps down mean I'm invested.
All right. Toronto
Maybe
Maple
not.
Leafs. We've got a trade.
We have a trade to announce.
Not wasting any time, getting some help. Kyle Dubas trades with someone he's very familiar with. Bill Armstrong.
Is he the only guy who'll take Kyle's calls?
I think so.
Kyle's calling around. It's like a lot of people change their numbers in this league. Bill's picking up.
Defenseman for a forward.
Mm-hmm.
We've got
Trading for need.
Curtis Douglas a member of the Toronto Marlies, now headed to Arizona for Connor Timmins,
Yes.
a one-time high prospect.
Yeah.
He had a lot of upside.
Yep.
Ran into some injuries, including a fairly significant concussion. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's
When was that?
battled. I think he's missed close to like a season,
Wow.
if I'm not mistaken.
Here's what I know about him. I know
Yeah.
he is 6'2" and 200 pounds. He shoots right.
Yeah.
He was drafted in the second round, barely. I think 32nd overall, which technically now is the first round. And he makes like league minimum, and they have no D-men. So to me, it's like, okay, take a flyer.
And he played for the Sioux Greyhounds.
God, why? Why does that have to be a
And
thing?
In fact,
he may have played
he was a partner, I think,
of Matt Hollowell.
of Mac Hollowell.
To Sammy's point, he saw Hollowell in practice and went, God, I'd sure prefer to have his partner from the Sioux. Just went out and got the upgraded guy on the pair. So yeah,
this is at the very least, throw it on the wall and see if it sticks.
100%. You just need options. Like there weren't even guys to turn to anymore. Like I don't believe you or anyone, even they believe that Mac Hollowell is going to be a permanent fixture. Could Connor Timmins? I actually like hearing that he had some injury issues, not because that's good,
Yeah.
but because you'd like to think that there's something that held him back
Yes.
from reaching potential.
And that's the thing right now.
Yeah.
Is that is the worst behind him, and can Kyle see something in him that says that once he gets over that hump? And we've all played with guys there. You just like, he's injury prone, and it's like they just need that one stretch where they can get out of that and start getting a regular feel, a routine, get consecutive games in. I don't know if it's going to be this kid or not, but it's worth a shot here. They were down on Curtis Douglas.
Really?
Yes.
Because going into the year, I talked to people who thought he might be the next guy up.
Oh, no. If I'm not mistaken, at some point, either at the end of last season or going into the summer, Kyle Dubas made it a point to say that they think that this kid can come in and challenge.
Yeah. Well, and I believe he plays center as well, Douglas. And you got Pontus Holmberg up here who had no goals, not a physical menace. He clearly hadn't. Douglas didn't have the season they were hoping for. Before, so I don't know if you want more on him. Yeah.
Just to add, that Connor Timmins, like there is some pedigree here. He was his second round pick, the 32nd overall pick.
Oh no,
second round. Sorry, 6'2" right shot defenseman. That
highly regarded as a top prospect.
Was he once Colorado? No, it's someone else. But yeah, no, he is. Yeah, he comes from somewhere where he was expected to be great, so that's good. The one thing that does concern me, fellas, whether he's been injury prone and working his way back or not, he can't crack the Arizona Coyotes decor.
Yeah.
JJ Moser, and Patrick Dyson Mayo, Troy Stetcher, Shane Gott, like I don't know. He can't crack that group.
Well, he's going to come in fairly skilled guy, a puck mover. I guess he can get pucks through to the net.
He had 60 points when you're in the OHL.
So there is that pedigree a little bit.
Wow.
But he gives them nothing when it comes to sandpaper and grit. That's not this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to, even go back to what we thought was a fairly minor trade last year for Lyubushkin, he is not that guy.
No. It's more of what the Leafs have stylistically. You could have had Ryan Reaves for fifth. Ryan Reaves got traded today, if you don't know that.
We
got
saw
traded
that.
to the Minnesota Wild.
Boy, did he fall out of the books in New York.
I haven't watched him closely, admittedly, but I wonder, is his play fallen off? Because he's still the same intimidating guy. He still is fighting when I watch the highlights.
Few healthy scratches, I think.
Yeah.
And
you wonder if he went off the ice, was like, hey, I'm not doing this. And
I think they just got tired of his act.
Yeah.
Being
and
the
just
big,
him and Bissonnette doing that.
And listening to Billy Guerin, just read a quote off of Billy Guerin on picking up Ryan Reaves. It's not for the fighting, he says. He's a big personality.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of energy and he's got swagger, and we've been missing that. So it's that energy. It's that bigger than life
It's funny because Bill has that.
feel.
And so he would recognize, like, what value that might have to a group.
And what's he making?
Canada.
What's he making? 1.7?
I don't know. I think that's correct.
Should I be mean and make Sammy look it up?
What are you guys talking about?
Ryan Reaves, how much does he make?
Yeah, I was trying to look up the Minnesota Wild lineup because
I think 1.7.
my thought on the Wild is that's already a pretty tough team, right? Like,
He signed for this year at 1.75.
And that's it. His deal's
Joel
done.
Eriksson Ek, Marcus Foligno, Jordan Greenway, Jacob Middleton,
He just
Dumba. They got some big guys.
He signed a 1-year deal.
You
this
traded
offseason.
1.7 for a big personality. You could add the three of us for a lot cheaper. Don't you
I can
think?
tell you that. Yeah, everyone's available for a price, and mine ain't that. I'll tell you that much.
Do we know if Timmins can get in the lineup tonight?
I don't know about tonight. It would seem unlikely unless they.
Oh, no. Sometimes you catch a flight. You're 3 hours away. Just pack a toothbrush.
I don't think they could pull the rug out on Hollowell now, though. Like, the guy's like,
No, he's playing.
He did an interview for Sportsnet. He's talking about how it means the world to him and everything. You couldn't
do
just
anything
Charlie
you
Brown
want.
pull the football away from him. Like, can't be Lucy.
I think 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon, though, Connor Timmins will likely be suiting up for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I think we will see him, yes. Friday, the day that we are doing the post game and not a show.
Yeah,
It's going to be interesting.
for sure.
All right, well, Connor Timmins, there you go. There's another body for you. Right-hand shot and 6'2".
I like the gamble. Honestly.
What's the harm? I
Yeah.
mean, if Douglas wasn't going to come in, you didn't see a
Yeah.
spot where he was going to help you. There's no harm here.
listen, and
Until he becomes
I
Mason
mean-
Marchman 2.0.
that's it. Like
You went there, eh?
you
Well,
You-
that's what they
you
thought he
got-
might be.
you got rid of a guy that you thought was pretty much like Curtis Douglas. And is there a chance that this thing Kyle goes 0 for 2 on these type of players?
Yeah, there is a chance. And what concerns me most about Curtis Douglas is he's 22 years old. So he's still very young at
Yeah.
22, and he's 6'9". And so 6'9", it takes a little while to coordinate all that. I don't know if you watched Zdeno Chara the first couple years in the league, but he wasn't Zdeno Chara.
Well,
for a while.
this is where Kyle Dubas and I'm sure his staff goes, he will never be
That's the bet
the
they're making.
bear that Chara
Luch.
was, or to maybe even a lesser extent, Mason Marchment. Like those guys, they don't mind getting their noses dirty, and
Yeah.
that's where they looked at Curtis Douglas, and they weren't happy with him at all.
Well, last
They
year.
they thought he was way too soft.
Really? This year?
This year.
And you know what else? Last year, the guy scores 13 times in 60-some games, and they're like, all right, we might have something here. He comes in at age 22. They played 13 games, no goals, 1 assist. So he goes from being a half a point per game
Yeah.
guy on top of
And,
the Pims to
The
that.
other thing that kind of makes me nervous, though, when, the Leafs evaluate talent is that, like, Mason Marchment has exceptional hockey IQ. Like, it's really good. And it was
really slippery
and-
hands,
and-
too.
And they just didn't see it. Like that is a little bit of a concern, that how can a guy that can do what he's doing in Dallas or what he's done on that short sample in Florida, like how did they not see a guy like that when he was with you with the Marlies and to give him up?
I think they did. My understanding is they just thought he couldn't stay healthy, which, like Connor Timmins, is probably a bad reason to give up on a guy who's 23, 24, ball in Canada. Not a great reason to give up on a guy. It is. I'm just worried about that the coordination comes for Douglas and it happens down the road. But here's my question to you, Kyper. It doesn't feel like young guys coming into the league today are either willing to or aware of the fact that if you just be the bulldozer, that teams will want you. That not everyone has to be the skill guy. And like, I thought that with Richie when he was here.
Yeah.
And Douglas too. Douglas didn't have to score a goal this year.
No.
If he came out and was nasty, they'd have used him.
It's just so hard, I think, today for players to identify that and then ask themselves the question, do I want to do it?
Do I want a life of that? Do I want to commit to being the guy who's
Yeah, see, that's
job
where
that
a lot
is?
of these kids are just dumb.
You don't have to fight much anymore.
You don't. You know, the best piece of advice I got from like a guy like Tim Kerr when I first broke into
Speaking of tough.
Yes. And Tim was kind of cut from the same cloth as me, undrafted, came in, played a bit of a role early, big, strong guy, got his nose dirty, and then he bought himself time.
Yeah.
The key in all of this, when you make that
Played
decision,
physical until
is buy yourself time.
Yeah.
And if a guy like Curtis Douglas came in and just, like, think about this for a second. The Leafs are dying for a fourth
6'9"
line,
mean fourth
liner, big, mean, can just chase people around.
The door's not even open. It's off the hinges.
Just all you
it's
need
an
to
open
do
gate.
is just fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And then if it's in you to go to another level, then they move you up a little bit. You have a couple of looks with a guy named Tavares, and Bob's your uncle. You've come in and you've shut the door.
Yeah. And you know what?
They won't do that, though.
But you know what? And that's not an option for everyone. I look at Nick Robertson, and I've got an article that should be out on Shane Wright any minute here. But those guys don't have the option to do what you're talking about, to fake a team, make it play physical, but they can play defensively and do other things. But when you have the option to do what Curtis Douglas had as an option, or what I assume a number of guys in the Marlies have the chance to do, I get it's hard to flip the switch and be that guy and try to give up on scoring or whatever, but boy, just be more well-rounded and go, go, go.
All right, jam-packed hour. While we check on the corner of our eye, give us an update, Sammy. What are you
Belgium
hearing?
just get a yellow for something?
What do you got going here?
Honestly, boys, it's more of the same. Canada's playing really well. They've missed a few chances here. I fear that it's going to be similar to the first half. Would be my
The comparison, the Leafs comparison from before was, and against Montreal in the playoffs when they were all over them, dominate. The Montreal would quick strike the other way on a rush. So
I will say though, I am incredibly encouraged about how good Canada looks. Like
if they
belong
look
on
like
the
this
field.
against Belgium, they can play against anyone.
Bingo. So I'm excited by this performance so far. I would love them to find a point.
Just
Tie
kick
it up
it
somehow.
into the
net,
big hockey
here's
net.
the thing about in soccer. The net's big.
It's real big.
Just kick it in there.
The one guy pounded one in the first half. Gave it a run.
Just one more follow-up on our conversation.
Good. We should talk hockey.
Yeah, we are talking hockey. And just with the kids today and identifying that.
Yeah. Should a coach do that? We'll talk after on that. Go ahead.
The other thing in the equation is that we're talking about a new generation that have probably come from a family with deeper pockets than our generation.
Good pickup.
So we really found that when it came to, kids out west, farmers and, people that watch their parents really work and labor, and knowing that, my dad probably never made much more than 30, 40,000 a year. And now I've got a chance to make 100 or 200 if I just do this.
Yeah.
And those decisions were a lot easier.
You got to go get a job anyway. If it doesn't work out, so you might as well.
We talk all the time to the alumni, and we talk about kids, and it's like, how upset is my kid after a loss? Driving in the back of a Range Rover.
Range Rover on a Nintendo Switch. Just like, yeah.
So
I think that's a really good point. I don't think there's a lot of players coming up right now who have the I need to do this or I got to go get a job at the coal mines mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's just another factor here.
That's right, Mom and Dad. I blame you for giving me a quality upbringing for my lack of grit.
Okay, look at this. We're 20 minutes into the show. Not one Kyper's Clipper.
We got him, though.
We got him.
Yeah.
Sheldon Keefe opening our Kyper's Clipper. Have we got anybody watching on
it was
on
like 100
YouTube
people,
or
legit.
anybody listening?
All right, 4:15.
Can we just sit
What's up,
around
friends?
like an episode of Blazing Saddles around the fire for 1 hour, and would anybody notice?
I am so thankful for our real Kyper and Bourne.
I am too. Truly, you guys
408
are awesome.
people watching on YouTube. Like, that's incredible.
Tip your hat.
Thank you. Tip that beautiful bucket that you have on, Bourne.
Yes. All right. Hey, we got to mention we got Darren Pang.
Oh, yeah, Panger.
We got Panger. We would have been up 1-0 against Belgium on that penalty kick if Panger was the goalie.
100%. It might be 2-0. There's a couple of kicks there. That
He would
I think
never
that's
have
fair.
reached
couldn't
it.
have got to.
That's
No,
a fair observation.
never reached it. We got Darren Pang in about 5 minutes.
What do you want to start with?
We're going to
Kiefer?
start with Keefe on some adversity, particularly we know the blue line. Let's have a listen.
For sure, I do. I think that's part of it, right? Is the season, through 82 games, it tests you, it challenges you in all sorts of different ways, and I think that's where you build a team, and that's where you grow as a team. And the reality is that's kind of the best part of the journey. It's a team like ours. A lot of times you say, let's fast forward and get right to the playoffs and get where it really counts. But like the journey and the path and the grind that you go through, that's the best part of it. And the teams that handle that the best are the ones that ultimately, come out in the end when it counts the most in the playoffs. So that's where we want to be. Just so happens that we have dealt with a lot here through 20 games. Maybe a season's worth of stuff that we've dealt with through 20 games, and we are still standing. And building a lot of belief in what we're trying to do as a team, and recognizing that the foundation that we've put in place defensively gives us a chance to compete in every game no matter who's in the lineup. So that mindset needs to continue while we continue to push and challenge for ways to score more, both 5-on-5 and our power play for that matter.
Okay, Sammy, you got to pay attention because I need you
listening.
on this
Yep.
one. All right, focus.
I
focus.
love that. I love that clip. Just talking about the adversity. What do you got?
Is this the worst stretch of lost men that Brendan has had in 7 or 8 years now?
No, I remember.
Is there a worse one?
I want to. It was the year Tyson Barrie was on the Leafs, and they had Tyson Barrie and Martin Marincin as their top pairing for a while. I remember they lost. I think it was Riley was out. Again, it was
Riley was out at that point too.
Yeah,
He
Riley
doesn't
was
miss
out.
much hockey.
Muzzin was out. There was like a big point where there was a bunch of guys out, and they were
Okay.
It was not good, but this is a testing stretch here, no doubt.
So my observation from Sheldon there is him trying to sell it that the real friends the journey along the way, that's where it really matters. It's all about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, a little early for me on that one.
Yeah, the end result is about the friends you made along the way.
I wouldn't have pulled out the journey card just yet.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting angle. The other thing, though, I do believe that instead of right now being like, oh, my God, we're playing our 9th D or whatever, if you don't learn now what you have in these guys, you don't want to find out come playoffs, or you don't want to find out in the second round, when you're down to your 8th or 9th guy. So let's see. Let's see what Sandin does with Moore. And I don't even mean Mac Hollowell. Let's just see what Liljegren does with Moore. Can Ben play consistently well with Riley? I think it's a good time to learn about your team. So I can heed what they're saying a little bit on some of this.
Leafs made the trade official, by the way. There you go. Timmins for Punchy Douglas.
I'm just mad we lost him for the
we
nickname.
never got to see him once. So there you go. It's an official.
Just like he is taller than Hollowell and Victor Mete
Taller.
combined.
Yeah, well, geez, combined.
So I get it that he's soft, but I don't know. Just maybe it would have been nice to have a couple of looks at him just to
At Punchy.
Yeah, Punchy,
Yeah.
just to kind of put the nail
agree.
in his coffin that it won't work here.
I agree. Because you wonder if the opportunity to get up would have made him a little hungrier to show what he could be for them.
There was an issue there. I'm telling you right now, there was an issue. I think early in the season, if I'm not mistaken, Shalgren got run.
Oh, and they were like, "Where were you?"
I'll tell you where he was. He was right beside, I think, the guy that ran Shalgren.
Just giving him a hug.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I don't think it's that well.
Huh. It is a funny thing where if you play a certain role, you don't always get to dictate when you are needed to be a certain way. So,
You want to play one more clip before we get to Panger?
Yes.
Because Robertson's getting in tonight.
Yep.
So we should play the
No.
one getting the opportunity.
No.
What do you want to play?
I want to play Keefe on facing the Devils.
Okay.
Defensively, we got to do a lot of what we did. We just have to maintain it for 3 periods. That's been the biggest challenge here as you look at the games that they've won, especially the ones of late. They stay with it for 60 minutes and the other team seems to go away. We need to stay with it all the way through. So that's not easy. It takes a lot of discipline, full commitment, all those kind of things. It's a team that's got a lot of confidence and playing well through 4 lines and 6 defense and playing well as a group on offense and defense. So, there's a big challenge there for sure, but a huge opportunity here for us. Huge opportunity for us to rally around.
Here we go, boys.
The adversity we have on defense and the situation we're in there. The fact we're playing a very good team on the road. So these are the kind of games I think just get you a little more excited to play.
Well,
Can we play that one more time? I was watching the soccer game.
they just need to be good
No, I'm
on
just
offense and on defense and play for 60 minutes well, because the Devils are really good on both sides of
And
the ball.
we just watched them last week. So you tell me, JB, what are we going to see tonight? We see a depleted blue line for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We see a team that has won 13 games in a row and is a lot closer to history than they were a week ago. Think about the Devils now coming into this game and the strut that they have and the heater that they're on and
We're doing pretty good.
how good they feel. Is this a team that's going to waste an opportunity to continue their historical run here on a team that's lost half their blue line?
It feels weird for the Leafs. There aren't many games going into it when you expect them to, oh boy, Canada in trouble, where you expect them to, they're the real underdog, right? Whether it's betting or opinion or whatever. They tend to perform fairly well in these positions when it's supposed to be hard. The one thing I think with this Leafs team is that they have to use their strength to their advantage, which is possession. You need the guys to have the puck in the Devil zone and circle around, and you can't just be firing in random shots on hope. They need to kind of play at that end of the rink because at some point, Jordy Ben and Mac Hollowell are going to be out there against Miles Wood and Bastian and McLeod, or it's going to be Zetterlund and Hughes and whoever else they play with.
This is a game where Matthews and Marner have to have the puck more than anyone else over 60 minutes.
They also need to score. That's obvious, and I know, but they need to take advantage of their chances.
They need to score just to, I think, make it interesting and close.
Right. If this game is probably, and this is super jinxy, but you're looking at if they're in this one, it's 3-3 in the third at some point, that sort of thing. Where you score with them because you have to believe this Devils team, the way they create, is going to get their offense against a really depleted D-core for the Leafs. Defensively, boy, there's 2 pairs that are worrisome for the Leafs.
Is this Sammy? Where's Panger? Is he coming?
I was just about to call him.
Oh, okay. I want you in this conversation. Is this tonight a fork in the road in terms of how bad it could be moving forward, or whether or not they can find a way to battle the adversity that Sheldon is and tread water until they get Brody back?
I think it's a great point. I think there's probably a lot of dubious eyes on this game tonight, seeing what this D-core looks like against potentially the best team in the NHL.
Yeah.
Right? I think
what's the difference between a win, a loss, and a bad loss?
It's a good question.
4-3 loss to a team that's been humming like
New
this,
Jersey,
or a 7-1 loss.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how old Matt Murray looks behind this D-core against the fast team.
I sound like McKee here, but thank God it is Murray. I feel good that one of the 2 guys they mean to be the goalie is in. Not to carve on Shalgren, but it has been.
Cool if I call Panger?
Yeah, call Panger now, eh?
Yeah.
Get him out here and get some takes. St. Louis Blues, speaking of teams on fire, they've won 7 in a row. Is that good?
How does that happen?
Well, I don't know. They've had 3 streaks all year. They won 4, they lost 8, they won 7. I think they're currently in a playoff spot after losing 8 straight games, 19 games into the season. So we're going to find out from Darren Pang on that. But this is the mark, eh, Kyper? This is American Thanksgiving, the one that everyone talks about. If you're in, you're in. If you're within 3 or 4 points of the playoffs, or if you're not within 3 or 4 points, you're cooked.
I just tonight for me has a feel that there's going to be a potential swing here. This is the issue with Toronto Maple Leaf fans or the media in general. It's like, go big or go home. You're going to have a huge, great opinion of the Leafs, or you're going to have the worst opinion ever. And it just seems like this game might dictate where people fall after 60 minutes. Okay, let's welcome in Panger. I said that if you were the goalie for Belgium, we would have been up 1-0 in the first half, Canada. But
probably.
You know, he's like 6 foot forever and made a huge save on her. 6'11". They have a goalie 6'11".
It's cheating. Yellow card.
Oh my God, that's 3 of you, Panger.
6'11". Are you serious?
Yes.
Hi, Bourne. How you doing, Kyper? You know what,
Good,
Kyper?
Panger, thanks.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't eliminate my afternoon naps on game days for too many people.
Oh, you're awesome. Because you know what? We had trouble booking anybody to come on. It's Canada and Belgium. And
I know.
No, I'm
I was
just
the last call. Wasn't
no, you were our first call.
Rolodex.
You were our first call, and I'm not kidding you.
I don't know. Why don't you send them some Greek food over there?
How was your schedule? How was your schedule?
Soccer players playing well on the pitch.
Yes.
How does the pitch look anyway? Does it look fine?
Looks fantastic. I would love to hit like a 4-iron off of it.
Ooh, wow! I've seen you hit a 4-iron.
That pure.
Beautiful.
Hey, how's your schedule?
Oh, busy. Really busy. Remember when I was with you on Wednesdays on Sportsnet?
I sure remember, buddy.
I remember busting my chops getting there from wherever.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and now I'm on that same one. Tonight's not a TNT game for me. I'm going to do the Friday TNT game, so that allowed me to do the Blues game here in Buffalo. And I've been busy. I've been really busy. Luckily, I have a lot of 5-hour energies.
Yes.
And
good.
And at night a bourbon or two, and then I'm ready to go again.
Good.
Yeah.
And so want to get your thoughts on the Toronto Maple Leafs, you know, from your perspective, and people still not we know what's going on with the injuries, but that alone, do you think that this is an elite team on the outside looking in when they're healthy, or there's just too many uncertainties still?
Well, I do think in the games that I've watched, fellas, that the one area that it's still, for me, that has to be a bit of a concern, and it's that way for a lot of teams that have some skill, and they, you know, you want to play some pond hockey, or you want to keep, you know, making plays through the seams, and is getting to the front of the opposition's net. And you know, I even think that game against New Jersey would have been a good example of that. And I talked to a couple of my friends that were, you know, in pro scouting and assistant general managers, and were at that game, and I just wanted to know, like, how was that game? Was it? And they're like, well, you know what? New Jersey did a great job of defending the slot, defending their own net, and really, you know, Toronto didn't get there. And I think that's a big part of it. As we look at the regular season, and there's lots of hockey left to play, but to establish the territories is going to be very important for, you know, a skilled team like Toronto, and that is, how badly do you want to get to the net? How badly do you want to get to the crease? How badly do you want to get to the front of the net? So, I mean, those are areas that I think that inner toughness and that defending your own net, and then getting to the front of the net of the opposition and do whatever it takes to get there. Because as we know, as the season goes on, those dot-to-dot passes, those you know, beautiful plays from behind, or looking for the next layer, or looking for the next play, it doesn't you know, that doesn't work once you get in a 7-game playoff series, because that's the part that gets defended really well. So as I look at them, I still consider them an elite team with skill, with pucks, with plays. They would scare the daylights out of me if I was the goaltender facing them. But as we well know, in order to win those 2-1 games and those 3-2 games, you've got to have that grit as well that goes along with that skill.
Dare I ask you, are you talking about Austin Matthews?
I'm talking about any skilled player that doesn't want to go there. But Austin, for sure. I mean, yeah, Austin could do him. You know, he could certainly do himself a favor and I was going to use a phrase. I never use this phrase, but belly up to the bar.
We know that one well. But
go right to the blue paint.
I mean, his numbers aren't horrible, Panger, but they're not. But he's not. He doesn't look like the second best player in the world right now, which we've been accustomed to thinking it's McDavid, Matthews, and everybody else.
Well, and that's. I mean, I think he's still, as we well know, has incredible elite high-end skill that is hard to teach. Some of the things he does, I still don't. I've even looked at it on video and how he practices and edge work and all that. And man, oh man, it's hard to fathom some of the stuff that he can do. So we know that that's there, but maybe I'm not sure if early on that one sequence where he didn't get involved. I can't remember the team that it was now, but
Billy.
Right, was it Konechny?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those circumstances that stay with you for a little bit, and maybe that's has that affected him? Is that something that he's got to get? He's got to get to the grit to prove to people that
Through
hey,
it,
listen,
right?
I am a big, strong guy. Yeah, get through it and play that way. And I understand in October and early November. Listen, I've watched enough hockey to know that a lot of the skill players they like to play a little pond hockey game. They're still got that mentality, and they're not just there yet. But boy, it's getting to that point right now where this is where you've got to turn the corner and play the kind of game that sometimes is an uncomfortable game. And I know that's an uncomfortable game for Austin. And I'm not saying that he's got to go through every single player that he faces one-on-one, but man, he's so big and he's so strong and he can do that. And it'd be nice to see him be that power forward that goes through some of these players a little bit harder like that.
Panger, one of the fantasies I think for Toronto Maple Leafs fans is the idea, and this is kind of popular in the analytics community, that if you're good enough for long enough, you get in the playoffs and get enough kicks at the can, at some point you get the bounces. Things go your way. And I wanted to get your take on that because the Blues are often held up as sort of the team that happened to, that they were good. They make playoffs for 25, 26 years. I mean, they were constantly in playoffs. Do you think the year they won the Cup, they were the best team in the NHL? Do they get the bounces? Like, is there a world where for the Leafs, they're a similar team, but they just find more bounces one year?
Being a part of that whole ride, once January 5th came around, or 6th or 7th of that year, I would often say to John Kelly, I'd say they're not going to lose. They'll be down 3-1 in the third period, and Justin, I'd be like, they'll win the game 4-3. They'll find a way. Right. There wasn't anything lucky about it. It was the way they played. Once Craig Berube got a hold of the inner soul of the team, there was no denying them. And I don't think they were the best team in the league, but I think they were as complete a team as you're going to find in doing exactly what the coach wanted. And I've seen Jim Montgomery take some things from the Blues and carry it over to the Boston Bruins this year. Before their mentality under Butchie was a lot of times they did fire a lot of pucks towards the goaltender's feet in certain areas. Now you're watching the Boston Bruins; they're holding on to pucks. They're going around the net. They're in the offensive zone for one shift, and then the next line comes up, then the next line comes off, and it's sustained pressure.
Right.
And so there's some similarities that other teams have taken from that Blues team to make them a harder team to play against. And that's where people think that they were this big, strong team that was heavy on pucks. Well, they were heavy on pucks because they didn't want to give that puck up. And so, anyway, looking at the way, looking at the way that the Blues played that year and looking at the way the Bruins are playing this year, that's always something that if I were any team that has big, strong guys that are good on pucks, that can make a play, I would copy some of the strengths of those two teams and take them on. And, maybe that's something that Toronto could do as well.
We're talking to Darren Pang, former NHL goaltender, hockey analyst with TNT, a guy that I've played golf with in my basement on my simulator.
What a life.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I'm America's guest, not only on the real courses, but also at people's homes.
That's a dream. I want that gig, Banger.
I tell you what, poor Kyper's wife was just trying to have an afternoon nap, and the simulators right down below, and I never stopped. I think I went an hour and 15 minutes of just hammering balls down there.
Just shanking them through the windows down there, or what, Kyper?
Oh, my God.
Banger, I'm going to lead. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say those 1985 persimmon woods that you have down there.
Yes.
I was just drilling them.
Yes.
Okay. So
100%. I'm going to lean on your ex-goaltending intelligence and ask you if Matt Murray has changed your mind, if it was ever in fact not in favor of the pickup, but he's starting to win some people over here. It's still early, but what are your thoughts on Matt Murray?
Well, I mean, he like the way I played, but we're way different in the way that I think of goaltending, and that doesn't make him right or me right or whatever. But see, I was a catcher of the puck all the time, and so sometimes I see him play, and I'm totally impressed by how he can get to position A and push off and get to B without using extreme athleticism. Pecorini gets from A to B and maybe stutter steps along the way and makes up for it because he can catch a puck. And yet, Matt Murray, I've always admired the fact that, he's more not a blocker of the puck, but it doesn't always look like it's going to end up being in his body. It doesn't always look like it's going to be this save that's traditionally the way that that you move around your crease. But when he does so, and he pushes off from the post and comes out on top of the crease and gets around and from point A to point B, it's like, oh, okay, he grinds it. He grinds it out there. It's there's some times where I think there's no way in the world he's going to get to that puck, Kyper, and then he does. So he's got something inside him, and there's a reason why he's won a couple of cups. But again, I think that he struggles with some of those movements, and it ends up, causing injury or whatever it might cause with Matt. That you go, oh boy, is he okay? I guess I'm in a roundabout way. I'm trying to say that a lot of movements don't look smooth, and then when he goes down or he makes a save, I go, is he okay? Right. I'm sure you guys watch the game the same way. It's like, is he okay? Is that an awkward fall, or is that a fall that's going to be an injury, or what it is? So but again, I have a lot of admiration for him because it doesn't always come easy for him, and so that's where I think that he's got something inside of him. He's got some jam inside of him because he gets through it. So I'm one of these guys that I hope he does well, because he went from Pitt, he goes to Ottawa. He can look good for a certain amount of games, and then he can look a little awkward or maybe a little choppy, and then bang, he gets hurt. So right now, the Toronto Maple Leafs need a goaltender that's going to be reliable in that net, and a guy, not only a guy that's going to have to make great saves, but a guy that's going to be there for them and dependable for them, injury-wise, and not being on the shelf. So, but again, we're different goalies. He's not a goalie that I look at and I go, okay, that's who I would emulate if I was in the league watching him. And I only say that because just different guys, different goalies, different ways of doing things, and different styles. But all in all, I think that he could be a real hero there in Toronto if he stays healthy and continues to make some saves.
Last one for me, Panger, and we appreciate you joining us during Canada's match. I'm sure it's killing you not watching right now, but wanted to get your thoughts. It would be ridiculous to have you on and not ask about those Blues who you watch constantly. I think 3 streaks this year: win 4, lose 8, win 7. What is happening that team is so streaky and so good and bad at the same time? Confusing.
Yeah, no team has ever lost 8 consecutive games in regulation. 0 points in 8 games, and then bounced back and won 7 in regulation. So, wow. I mean, that's the league right now. And I was just reading an article, and it was from, I think it was from Pierre LeBrun in The Athletic, and it was Doug Armstrong was kind of talking about the same thing. And this is something that you talk about the Leafs, or you talk about skilled teams or whatever, but it's the lack of, recognition from young skilled players how to defend. When you've got the lead, everybody wants to add on to it, and I think it's a difficult league right now from that point of view. But how are they? Well, the goalie that I do love watching is on a roll, and that's Jordan Binnington. I mean, he's stopping 96% of the shots that have come his way. When you look at at a Blues game, you look at him in the net, he looks like a goalie. He's got a tight crouch. He looks athletic. He's on top of his crease. He's battling like crazy. He's not worrying about all that other stuff. He's not. He's just playing goal. He's even keeled, and he's setting the tone for them. He'll play again tonight in Buffalo, and they're believing in one another right now, this Blues team. So anytime you can win 7 consecutive games, you're doing a lot of great things. And when they lost 8 consecutive games, they were doing a lot of things very poor. But they have fixed what they went through in that 8-game losing streak, and they're not nearly the same team. There's a night and day difference between the 8-game losing streak and what they're doing right now.
You got enough time to go back and nap? Or did we just bury it?
No problem with me. I'll probably watch soccer. I want to see how the pitch looks.
Oh, the pitch looks fantastic.
Yeah. Well, there's no alcohol, so that's nice and fresh.
That's why you're not there.
Hey, they promise you there is, and then they take it away.
We've been there before during our careers, haven't we? That way.
That's right, buddy. We sure have.
Darren Pang.
Enjoy that, and it has been a pleasure being on your award-winning program.
Thank
fellas.
you, my friend.
Thanks, Panger. Appreciate you.
All right, gang. Take care.
Darren Pang, TNT analyst, one of the best.
I was on the television last night, and one of the questions that was asked was if you told every GM in the league you can have Austin Matthews or Cale Makar.
Yeah.
What do you think the number split is? It's like 16-16? Half and half?
No.
Do you think it's lopsided one way or the other?
Yeah, I do think it's lopsided.
Let's have it.
Cale Makar.
Yeah. And McDavid Makar?
I probably go Makar.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
Well,
I don't know if anyone would.
Yeah. Well, what are you asking me? Who's more exciting?
No, they're putting them in the middle, and you're saying to the GMs, you're starting a team from scratch.
Yes.
Pick one of these two guys.
Yes. Defense.
I mean, he's unbelievable.
Who?
Makar.
Unbelievable.
He has the fewest games to 200 points for a defenseman
Makar
in NHL
is
history.
more important to win a championship than a McDavid is.
Wow. So we started with McDavid, and I not dumbed it down, but brought it to Matthews. What happened, Sammy?
Oh, sorry, I forgot my mic was on. My bad.
What happened? Did we come close?
No, it was.
We're at the 87th minute here, still down 1.
Sorry, boys.
How much time do we have left in this game?
3 minutes. Got to be 5 extra after, though, eh?
Maybe they've been going a lot, so maybe 7 or 8 minutes
Of extra.
So there's probably about 10 minutes left in this game.
Okay. Plenty of time.
10 minutes left in the show. We're going to be here with you through the end before we get to a kick in the grass.
Sorry about yelling there, boys.
No, it's good. Let us know.
Ask Sammy that question if he can pay attention.
Sammy, do you want Austin Matthews or Cale Makar?
Gun to my head, I'm Makar.
Yeah.
I think
we're not doing our show loyalties very well, but I think a lot of people recognize that's the choice.
Connor,
I think he's the third pick, Matthews.
Is Cale one of the fastest to score 200 points?
The fastest.
The fastest.
In history, yeah. Above for defenseman.
Any Bobby Orr or
195
Paul
games,
Coffey.
He's got 200 points. He clapped one top corner the other night. Also just controls the pace of play out there. He defends, he's big, he skates.
Yeah, the position from one end to the other is more important than even a centerman.
Yeah, I think if you could lock up a 1D that's Cale Makar, I still take McDavid.
What did you say in the show last night?
I said Makar over Matthews.
Yeah.
But I didn't even
McDavid?
think. No, I would.
Yeah.
We didn't actually do that, but I don't think I could pass on Connor McDavid. But a lot of that is just we talk about him so much more.
Interesting question for sure. It's just it's your philosophy today. I build from the net on out.
Nick Robertson or Cale Makar, who would you rather have?
What kind of? You think Nick's feeling pressure again, or is he?
I do.
I really hope he goes in there with house money right now.
And he gets to play with Marner and Tavares, which to me, that's a nice line for him. I actually don't like him with Nylander much.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good fit, being that both the guys have defenses secondary on their list. But I like him with Marner and Tavares. I think he's got a chance there. You know, Marner passes the puck better than anybody on earth right now. Maybe outside, I don't know, Draisaitl or something, but
Just quickly on our Sportsnet poll on our YouTube channel, Makar, 79%.
running away with it.
Matthews, 21%.
Yeah.
But
And this
we're
is a
also-
Leafs show. So
We're also talking an off season for Matthews by his
right.
standards.
If you were leading the league right now with 20 goals, it might be different. Maybe not
maybe.
for you. Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, for sure, we'd know different.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to a Kipper's Clipper on the opportunity yet again for Nick
I
Robertson.
wanted to get Nick that opportunity up there, and it's a little bit of a different look. You know, we've played him lots this season with John and Will, not as much with John and Mitch. So that's something I wanted to get a look at, and think that the timing is right. Malkin's played very well for us. We've done a lot of good things. We've been really happy with him. Yet there's some things that we want him to continue to work on and grow in his game. And missing a game here and there is not the worst thing for him. At the same time, it makes it a true competition. Where there's guys, if they slip a little bit, then others are going to come in and play.
It's interesting that he made the comment about Mulligan slipping more than just like wanting to get Robertson in, actually saying that he's seeing a little slippage there. He's still experimenting.
Well, I think I've already seen more than I thought I would out of Mulligan. So
Oh yeah, I
we're
wonder if
talking
that's
about
sustainable.
we've never we're talking about a guy that's never played regularly in the National Hockey League ever before. So yeah, it's hard.
Mhm.
It's like your first NHL game, and then you're still looking around, and you're like, can't believe where you are, and your family's excited, and your buddies are all excited, and then there's a line you cross, and it's like, I've got a job.
Well, there's no exhale.
Right?
Yeah.
I've got a job, and what's the job requirement? It's to play consistent, and I'm not as excited as I was maybe a month ago or 2 months ago, and now there's an expectation every night I got to do it, opposed to people not being sure.
Yeah.
It just changes.
Well,
it's,
and there's
it's like the goalies who, okay, you want to play with a free will in net when people have no expectations from you.
Yeah.
And then when there are expectations, what happens?
Yeah, totally different. And, not that my experience is that comparable, but like being in the American League at first, I was very excited, like fired up, legs pumping, whatever. And you do get to a point where you're 2 months in and you're like, now I'm like,
I
trying
gotta
to
work.
get up for a game here. And like, I got to kick
I gotta
myself
work.
in the, it's certainly an issue.
Oh my God, that was a fast hour even during
It was. How much extra time? Only
a
5,
big
Sammy?
game.
5. So
5
there's
more minutes.
2 minutes left
Yeah.
here.
2 minutes.
The
All right, Sammy, you hanging in there?
The prospects are looking grim.
I just can't believe how good they've been to not score.
Let's go to a New Jersey-Toronto score tonight, boys. Can the Leafs keep this close tonight?
Leafs win 4-3 in overtime.
Overtime.
My. What a super fan. I've got the Leafs probably losing 5-2.
You know what, though? Yours at least makes sense. Mine's like a total hope
Leafs-
and a prayer because
What do you got,
I
Sammy?
like the Leafs.
Leafs lose 6-0.
All right.
Sammy's in a
We
bad
hope
spot.
you've
He's
enjoyed
busy.
our condensed Real Kyper and Bourne show on this Canada-Belgium day. Enjoy the rest of the soccer game. Go Canada, go. Come on. Get a big goal here before we go off the air. You
Got a
can do
minute.
it.
Got a minute. No, never
Sammy? Nah, Sammy's gone. He's checked out.
Stay tuned for Blair, Riccio, and Devang Desai. A kick in the grass.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing
Here
that
to
because I
help.
had no idea. And for all our loyal followers
And
on
Derek too is going to be
YouTube,
involved.
thank you very much. Frank the Tank, Derek Brandeo, awesome job. Give us a rating and review. We love that, and a thumbs up on the Real Kyper and Bourne show. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.